Over humanity's great existence, love has always been a point of interest. No matter the culture, language, or country, everyone has thought about love and everyone's experienced love. Hi, my name's Kyle, and I'm the host of the You Talk, We Listen podcast, and today I'm joined by co-host
Mina Sadik.
and Mina. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about what you think love is and when do you feel the most loved?
And we're already joined with someone. What's your name?
Annie.
And when do you feel loved? What is love?
It's so funny that you asked that because I got married June 24th.
Oh, wow, congrats.
Yeah. My wife and I were actually polyamorous. So the definition of love is a lot different for us because it kind of goes past that whole monogamous, view of what relationships are and what they can be. But the way I see it and the way my wife sees it is that love is so different person to person, and no matter what I feel for her, if I ever felt that with somebody else, it wouldn't matter because it would always be different. Mm-hmm. For me, when I know that she loves me, it's when I come home and she wraps her arms around me and cooks me a meal, when she takes the time to hold my hand when I'm stuttering with words, to ask if I'm okay. It's that genuine caring that it doesn't matter what happens to you, or it doesn't matter what it is, you can get over it and you choose to love that person over and over and over again.
Yes, basically, love is basically the most inconsistent constant in life.
Oh yeah. I just found out that my best friend who was living with me was actually in love with me and my wife.
Wow.
And he had a wife who was not polyamorous.
Oh God.
And I missed 3 days of school last week because of it.
For sure.
Because I love him as a friend and I could see that potential, but it's weird because he's like that person that you go to for everything. Mm-hmm. Just like I go to my wife, and realizing that my wife and I could have experienced what we experienced for each other again with somebody else is the most earth-shattering thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
For sure. Yeah.
Sorry if that's a lot.
No,
No,
okay.
absolutely.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, because polyamorous relationships are not very common here, when did you know you wanted one, and what was the reason as to why?
It's funny because, my wife and I, we met when we were in 7th grade. So before we even got married, I'm a psych major. Mm-hmm. I know statistically that marriages that start early and get married early tend to fail because people don't go out and experience things. Mm-hmm. They never learn or grow from each other, and it causes resentment. So before I even got married, I told my wife that I wanted her to be able to experience life, and I wouldn't take that away from her because I felt that was selfish.
Right.
Just because I'm the only person she's dated and I'm the only person she dated.
Right.
However, I didn't know that I would want to be in a polyamorous thing with my best friend until last week. That was kind of a lot.
Really life-changing.
That was, yeah. I mean, I could do monogamy if that's what she wanted, but I guess it's something that we both didn't realize that we would totally be okay with. And I didn't feel an inch of jealousy. I just felt so happy that she was able to feel the love that she feels with me for somebody else.
Right.
It's this genuine want to support somebody and help them,
So for you, it's the selflessness. You want them to be happy.
Yeah, I'm able to put my selfish desires of wanting somebody truly to myself. I'm willing to put that down just because I love that person so much unconditionally.
And I guess you sort of found out about yourself too, that was something you were sort of into. You're also happy with
and
that.
she wasn't selfish about it either. She was just I didn't know someone could make you feel as happy as I did. Why wouldn't I want you to feel that too?
Right.
And that was the most beautiful moment I think I've had in my relationship. It's made us stronger as a couple, even though I'm pretty sure that's not going to work out. I basically lost my best friend, but that's just the way things go sometimes,
Yeah.
Now, when do you feel the most loved in a relationship?
The way when I feel the most loved, it's just that constant checking in, For me, my biggest love language is physical touch, but it's not something gross or sexual. It's reaching for somebody's hand when they're struggling to, when they're pulling their hair because they're stressed out, or just taking the time to be hey, breathe. I think that's when I feel the most loved.
You feel like that deeper understanding, like they get what I'm going through, they get what I need
without
now.
any words.
Yeah,
Without words. That's
Yeah.
like the most important thing to me.
completely. Yeah, that is so beautiful.
Now, what do you think the difference then between like a friendship and a romantic relationship then? Because I feel like sometimes friends do that for me, except for like the hand holding, but
It's so funny. I'm trying to figure that out myself right now.
okay.
Hopefully, this can open that door.
I think for me, when I realized that my friendship was maybe more, is that I have like he never physically cheated on me with his wife, right? But he definitely tried to emotionally cheat with me. He knew she was monogamous and was in love with me. And to me, he cheated with her. And I'm not okay with that. That was not okay.
For sure.
But I know it was emotional cheating when you start planning your life around somebody else. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
You don't, plan every second of your life around somebody unless you're in love with them. I think that's the main difference between friendship. At least that's where I cross the line.
Right. No, that is very understandable. I do like that point. It's hard to get a grasp of what people consider what is loved, when do you feel loved. Everybody has different experience. Everybody has a different thought about it. And that's basically the reason why we're here today, to sort of get an idea of
I feel like I'm
dissect
the
your
weirdest
brain,
case scenario.
Absolutely not. I promise you're not. You don't need to be worried about that. I promise. All of the things that you said are very much relatable. They're very much make sense. Nothing was out of the box. And you don't need to worry about that.
I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate that. I do have to get to class.
Okay.
But is there any other questions you want from me?
No, thank you.
Okay, my name is Andreas Payton. I'm a junior here at OU. I'm a graphic design major.
All right. And what is love, and how do you feel loved?
That's a hard question to answer. I think love is just when you have, I would say when you feel a lot for someone, whether it's romantically or just like family-wise. Like there's nothing in the world that you wouldn't do for that person. So that love is like you always there for them, no matter good or bad terms. You always got their back. You always showing up for them, doing what you can to make sure that they feel like they're cared about. Yeah, I feel like that's what love mean to me.
So it's that unconditional aspect, like no matter what or when,
yeah,
they're gonna be
just
there.
with or without you asking for it, I got you. If I find out you need something from me, I got you. Like that's what I feel like. That's what love is.
So when do you feel the most loved?
I would say I feel the most love like around my friends or family. Like if I'm around them, I would say nothing else matters in that moment except for where I'm at. When I'm around those people that I know I love, it's like nothing else is there except me and my people in that moment.
Now, is that the most valuable thing to you, like that connection with your family, your friends, that love, or?
I just say connection with people in general. A lot of people that may not have many connections with people, so when you have a connection with someone, whether it's just one person or maybe like 5 to 10, just as long as you have a connection with somebody, like I feel like that's the most important thing. I feel like that's what really helps people is when they know they got somebody they can depend on, somebody they can lean on in their time of need.
Right. No, that I think is also the biggest thing, because there are a lot of people that I know, and me personally before, when I would have nobody in my life, nobody around me, you feel lost and stuck and like nothing is worth it,
Yeah.
So finding that one person that has been there for you and sort of shines a light onto your life, that is the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, so that's how I feel that too. Like everybody needs somebody. Like you can't go through everything alone, or you can't do everything alone, because if you could do everything by yourself, then everybody would be doing everything.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good outlook.
Any other comments or?
I'll just say find somebody or people that you connect with. Everybody, like I said, everybody need a connection. Everybody needs somebody. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Gray.
Back again.
Yeah, I'm a second-year social work student. And to answer the question of what is love and when do you feel most love?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I mean, physically speaking, love is just a chemical signal in your brain. But thinking a little bit deeper, love is a reaction to strong emotions that you can't necessarily understand. You know that this is important, that you're feeling something, but you're not quite sure how to react. So that's the feeling of love.
Now, do you feel like because a lot of people will say like the chemical reaction thing in the brain like devalues love. Do you think that, or do you think
No.
there's more to it? Okay.
I think that it's important to recognize that it's a chemical signal in your brain. People can say, oh, it's in your heart. I mean, your heart doesn't think and it doesn't feel. Literally speaking, I love science. I mean, it's a chemical signal in your brain to stimuli in your environment. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. It's still something that we don't fully understand.
Like, love is bigger than us. It's not something that we need to understand, but
Yeah.
we love love regardless.
Yeah, especially the different types of love, like your platonic love, romantic love, love of your environment, general love,
Right.
family love, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's tons of different types of love. And to answer the second part of the question of when do you feel most loved, I feel most loved when I'm in an environment that I feel most comfortable in and I'm surrounded by people I know. Because if I'm not going to feel comfortable in an environment where everybody hates me, there's only negative feelings.
Oh, yeah.
I strongly believe that love is found.
Yeah.
Now, going back to what you said about like platonic love and like love for the environment and love for your family,
Yeah.
what do you think? I know obviously it goes to like chemicals in the brain, but what beyond that connects all though, in your opinion?
Yeah, so connecting it all, I think goes back to what I said kind of like in the beginning, is that it's this feeling that you don't fully understand. You have similar feelings of like, this is important to me. This is like, it makes my heart beat, it makes me smile, it makes me feel ecstatic, but you don't quite understand like why. It's just in different situations. It's not differing how you feel, it's just with different people in different relationships.
Gotcha. It's not necessarily something that you need to understand. It's something that just you're happy feeling this thing and you are going to continue feeling this thing
Yeah.
for as long as you can.
Yeah, I also consider myself pretty philosophical, and I think that people who try to understand love are missing out on love. You can try all you want to try to understand it, but you're going to miss out on what it is. You're going to ignore the fact that it's just there. You want to enjoy it.
It's like when you try to intellectualize it, it just
You
falls
lose
apart.
meaning. It loses meaning if you try to explain it.
Wow, that is poetic.
That is so
very
deep.
poetic.
That resonates.
I mean, any other comments?
Call your mom. She probably wants to hear from you.
Tell her
She loves you.
you love her. Text your dad. Text your
Unless she
brothers,
doesn't,
sisters.
then don't call her.
Thank you, Gray. Thank you.
Of course.
Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah. My name's Leanne. I'm a junior at Oakland University. I'm studying political science and minoring philosophy.
My name is Dania, and I'm a sophomore at Oakland University and studying psychology.
All right. What is love?
I feel like that's such a subjective question, but I honestly feel like love is when you care about someone so much that like in a way you think with your heart rather than your brain.
I feel like love is when you're like comfortable with the person. You can talk to them about a lot of things.
And when do you feel the most loved?
I feel the most love when one thing that really makes me feel loved, and that like I always love to do with people like I love, is just being like when someone remembers you in like little things. Let's say you're like going to get coffee from like this certain place, and like that's their favorite, so you remember them. Or like let's say something like very simple, like you see like a drawing and it just like reminds you of them, and then you like tell them like, you know what, like I saw this and it reminded me of you, like that makes me feel extremely loved. Just
It
like
lets you know that that you're constantly on their mind and that they're
Exactly.
always thinking about you, and I love that.
I love being like when people just like remember me in little things, like even if they're doing something and they're like, you should have been there, like we would have had so much fun, like we missed you, like someone like that makes me feel so much love, you know.
Or like the occasional text saying like, hey, like how are you? How are
Exactly.
things? Yeah.
Mine is very similar, but like more of an aspect where they notice the small details about you. So they notice the way you do something very specific, and then they keep that in mind for like future like references, and like kind of similar to what she said, bring it up and like get you a coffee because they know this is your favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to go off like what you said, when they like notice a slight change in your behavior, maybe because you got like a little upset, a little offended, I feel like someone who loves you will notice those little things and like make sure you're all right.
And do you think like these definitions and like instances that you guys mentioned, do you think that extends further than just like the romantic love?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Friendships too.
Yeah.
Right.
And now, when you look at romantic love, then like what's the difference then? Because like obviously like what Mino's saying, like with friends or family, like they can like check in on you, they can ask you how you're doing and notice these little things. But like what? Because I feel like that's like the bullet right there. Like what is the romantic level? What's the difference?
I think with romantic love, it's more of like you have this person who even just their presence like lights up your world basically. Like you could have the worst day and just having them next to you and them supporting you, that's all you really need. You know what I mean? And like having someone who's like willing to do that, just always like be there whenever you need them, like support you. Like with I feel like romantic love, that's like a necessity, you know? It's something that's more than like it is expected. It's not like maybe I'll like be there for her, like, you know, I'm not in the mood, but like I feel like when your partner's like giving 20, you give the rest, you know what I mean? And you're just always there to like help them like be a better person and like bring them up. Where like as friends, it's more so like, you know, you're there when they need you, you're just like, you know, you just like smaller things, you know. I feel like on a romantic level it's a lot bigger and like you're kind of devoted to this person, so you have to be there. It's not like an option whether they need you or not.
So it's more involvement. on their
Yeah.
part.
100%.
Like whatever your friends are, amplify that by 100 and there's your partner.
Yeah, basically.
Because for me personally, it's going to be I talk, you listen now. I think that with your partner, clearly you need more involvement, more effort, more attention, more everything than your friend. Friend completely, you can have my whole heart, my whole soul, but priority will always go to the partner. Because in the end, they're who I'm living with, spending my life with. They are and going to be everything that I am. You know what I mean? So it's mainly the priority, and yeah,
I do
don't know if
agree.
there's a difference.
Yeah.
I've never been in love, so but more like in the friend way, like reassurance and like that you're always there for them. I would say both ways go.
Now you say you've never been in love, but what would you look for?
Someone who I'm comfortable with. I'm more of like an introvert, so someone who can bring out like my energy, and I can always just be comfortable with them no matter what we're talking about. And someone I look forward to like seeing.
I like that.
I mean, any other comments, guys, or
No.
no? That's okay. That's okay.
You know, love can suck sometimes, but other times it's great.
And that's the real love, the love that perseveres through all the sucky parts.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for today is, what is love? What do you think in your definition?
I think love is an undeniable feeling of strong compassion towards someone, most of the time unconditional compassion. I mean, that's very hard to not feel how you feel about that person.
Now, is the unconditional part, is that the most important part to you about love, or like being in a relationship, or?
I would like to think so, that caring about somebody through their worst moments, through even their best moments, and everything in the middle, I think that's extremely important for any type of relationship, friendships, family, love, anything like that. I think that that's very important.
And when do you feel the most loved? Does it go back to the unconditional aspect of it, or do you think there's a little bit more?
I think I feel the most loved when I can be around someone and not feel ashamed about anything about myself or who I am as a person. Just when I feel like a warm feeling, like I feel safe.
So it's that lack of judgment.
Yeah.
The comfort that you feel from them, that you can be your true self. You don't need to hide
Yeah.
any part of you behind any doors.
Yeah,
You just
like,
come out
they
and be who you
completely
are.
understand.
Yeah.
And they still accept you while understanding.
Yeah.
Like accepting everything good, bad, weird about you as a person.
All of it.
I think love is a very confusing feeling. I feel like it's a very powerful feeling too.
But why confusing? Where's that coming from?
Because sometimes you may love someone, but that doesn't mean that they're the right person for you or that you should keep them around. But love is love. I don't know.
So you're saying like if someone's like showing romantic interest in you, it's not necessarily right to be in a romantic relationship, but a friendship relationship with them.
Yeah, I think sometimes love is just confusing because your heart and your head can be in two different places.
Yeah.
And it's hard to pick.
Completely, I agree with that. Love, sort of like playing off what you said, is like infinite and constant, not in the ways that it lasts, but in the ways that it can be shown and accepted and given. And it's completely based on each person. Each person has a different like experience, thought. Everybody has different things that they need to feel love, to show love. So the point that you were saying again about being comfortable, and it's confusing completely and entirely, it's confusing, but I think that that's the fun part sometimes, trying to figure out what love is in my own way, in my own experiences.
And I feel like as you go on in life, your perception of love can change based on the experiences that you have.
Now, how has it changed for you, if you don't mind me asking?
I think when you go through certain things in your life, you really see who actually loves you. Because people can like you and they can tolerate you and want to be around you, but there is something different when you love someone. Like, they'll do things that they wouldn't normally do or care for you in a way that most people wouldn't. And I think that's really what love is. I was going to say love is loyalty, but sometimes that's not true. I think that someone can love you but not be loyal to you. And I think that someone can love you and be loyal to you. So I think it's just how in love you are and what you've gone through and experiencing love.
Any other comments?
I think what you guys are doing is really unique, and I like it.
Thank you. What you said was great, honestly. Like, thank you.
All right. Hi, my name is Marko Spasovsky. I'm just some guy. And the answer, or the question today, is what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. When do you feel most loved? So, I think I'll start off and I'll answer when I feel most loved. And I think love is oversimplified in today's society. And, I think the ancient Greeks, they did some weird things, but some things they did right was in the way they defined things, especially abstract things. There's multiple kinds of love. There's romantic love. There's love as a friend. I can love a passion differently than I love a person, of course. But all in all, what love really is at the end of the day is acceptance and care. Because in life, you are beat up by everything, okay? I go to school, I study for 4 hours, and I get a subpar grade, and I come home, and then I go to work, and then people yell at me at the pharmacy because I don't have their narcotics ready. Sorry. And I come home, and I sit down, and I'm battered from everything, and my mom goes, "Hey, Marco, how are you?" She talks to me, and then she brings me my favorite dinner. Small things like that. That's love. Again, love doesn't always have to be acceptance. Love doesn't have to be anything grand. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it's acceptance. That's when I feel most loved, small things. When I hang out with my friends and they remember small things from years ago from what I've said, or when I see a friend from years ago and they remember my name, or when my friends and I have inside jokes, that's love. To me, that's love. So love, it's acceptance, and it goes beyond accepting other people and appreciating other people. It's also accepting yourself. That's love. I think self-love, people have this idea of self-love that can be toxic. That, of course you should say, I love myself. That's not what I mean by that. I think there's some people that proclaim self-love so much out of a place of where they don't have it. It is okay to not always be beautiful. It is okay to cry. It is okay to break down. You can admit all of these things and love yourself. Do you know what I mean? There's oftentimes, I'll give an example. Maybe I like a girl. For example, hypothetically, I like this girl, and normally I'm confident, but then all of these insecurities arise. Suddenly, these thoughts that I've never had, am I pretty enough? Am I tall enough? Am I smart enough? All of these things happen because my identity is shaken. But if you have love, you will understand that you are not perfect, and that is okay. So I think at the end of the day, love is just acceptance and passion.
Now you're mentioning the thing about you not being perfect. I'm assuming love then is also accepting the partner for not being perfect.
Oh, of course. Of course. I haven't had too much of that stuff, but from what I have, it's like no one's perfect. I feel like we'll use romantic partners as a relationship. Let's say I meet this person and they seem great on paper. Oh, she's pretty and she likes sports and she's smart and this and that. But I start to hang out with her and I realize, oh, she gets jealous sometimes. Oh, she gets angry. Oh, she has a bad relationship with her family. We're all human. I could talk for 5 hours about everything wrong with me, And that's okay. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't be loved for that. I think everyone deserves to be loved. I think if everyone was shown more love despite their flaws, I think the earth would have less problems.
Now, do you think, especially in American culture today, there's an issue of trying to find the perfect person, trying to find Prince Charming and the perfect match for you?
There's no such thing. You need to find someone you can agree on with not like 90% of things, because I think that's saying opposites attract. Maybe if you're looking for a hookup, maybe what might be titillating to me is if I see an emo girl with piercings and all of that, but maybe we don't actually have too much in common. I've been friends with a lot of girls like that, and they're wonderful friends, but maybe as a romantic partner we cannot connect enough on so many things, So the perfect person does not exist. The perfect person does not exist. You just need to make it work. You need to find someone that is just similar enough to you, and then just forget about this stupid stuff, man. I see so many people our age, they do petty drama. Oh, I'm gonna wait 30 minutes before I open this text. Dude, grow up, There's no such thing as the perfect person. You yourself need to be not perfect. You yourself should strive to be the best version of yourself as possible, especially if you have a partner. If I have a partner, let's say hypothetically I have an anger problem, okay? If I have a partner, why would I want her to witness that side of me? I can tell her about it, but of course I'm going to work on it, And we always have these problems, but there's no such thing as perfect. I think if you look for perfect, you will look your whole life, It's like you'll have these guys, I have some guy friends, and they're like, oh, so-and-so, she's got a nice face, but this and that. And it's like, look at yourself. There's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah, I feel like there are people who sort of strive for the perfection in a relationship, and they micromanage, and they pick at the tiniest things to try and make an imperfect relationship perfect. But that's not what's ideal. What's ideal is the compromise to meet in the middle. That's what's going to make it perfect. Once you guys have an understanding for each other and what you guys both look for, if you're willing to accept, like you said, love is acceptance. If you're willing to accept the differences and move on and love the other more after that acceptance, that's going to be your perfect relationship. But to sort of make it like this textbook picture perfect relationship, that's not going to happen. And that's what I feel like is happening a lot in today's day and age. People strive for that fake perfection, based on what other people think.
Well, you know where it comes from.
Hmm.
There's a lot of sources, and I think it's mainly in this American culture.
Yeah.
When your grandparents met, I'm sure your grandpa wasn't thinking, I don't have an 8-pack, you know, I see all these guys on TV and they have an 8-pack and I don't have an 8-pack. You know, it comes from social media. It comes from, I would even say, like maybe some erotic material like pornography gives people bad views of themselves and of their partners, you know? Like back then, your grandparents, maybe if they had a squabble, your grandma would say, well, the neighbor's got a new nice car, hypothetically. Now it's Johnny has this, and Marco does this, and Tom does this. It's all this comparison and stuff. I got rid of, I mean, I still have an account. I barely use it, like Snapchat and Instagram. Why? Why do I need to see someone pretending to have the perfect life? Are they going to post a picture of them when they're breaking down and crying, or when they're at the baseball game? Is someone going to post a picture of when, I don't know, they're having a fight with their mom? Are they going to take a selfie, or are they going to take a picture of their cat? Why am I going to listen to that? Why should I streamline lies to myself? You know, and that's where the issue comes from in this society.
No, I agree 1,000%. It's people always feel the need to show off the best points in their life, and they're dismissing all of the bad parts that happen, and that sort of leads people to be like, okay, something's wrong with me if I'm feeling these bad things and everybody's going through good things. Something must be wrong with me. And again, that goes down the path of like not accepting yourself, not being able to accept others around you, and it's this whole cycle of not good things.
I think I agree with you on that, because I think a lot of people think that having issues is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned is people don't like to think about hard things. Let's say I have something irrational. Let's say I am a very jealous man, okay? And let's say I have a girlfriend, and let's say she is not flirtatious with other men in any other way, but let's say I get jealous. That is that's a bad example, but anyway, let's say it's minor. What should I do? Should I ignore that issue, or should I think about it to myself? Should I think about, why am I having these thoughts? Does it come from a childhood of where my dad cheated on my mom and I'm scared that's going to happen to me? Does it come from a place of former insecurity, or should I just not think about it? Again, that was a poor example, but you should always, strive to that answer. And again, I think that would help out our problem here too.
So you think bottling it up and ignoring it is the wrong way to go? Open communication is key.
I think communication is key in the philosophical way. And when I say philosophical, I mean just say why. Babe, I'm unhappy. Why? Well, I don't think we spend enough time together. Well, I think we spend plenty of time together. We spend 3 days a week together. Why do you feel like we don't spend this time together? When we're together, do you feel like it's not quality time? Why do you feel like that? That's where it opens up. Whereas I've seen, especially people in our age, because I feel like a lot of people in our age are too shy and they are not articulate. Babe, I'm mad at you. Why? You should know. That's stupid. I feel like, listen, I came on this random talk show. People might see me and say, who's this weird guy? My name's Marco. I don't care. I'm not going to, because it's like rude and I don't want to cause a disruption. I could literally go in the center of where those people are eating and like scream, I just pooped my pants. I don't care. These people are going to point and laugh. Maybe they're going to pull out their smartphones. They don't know my name, unless they do. They don't know my name, and I will not see them. Why should I care? I think a big issue in society is people give a damn about what everyone thinks about them. And yeah, that stems from social media. Because before, you did something stupid, no one knew, now everyone knows. But don't care. I see so many people that care. I see so many of my friends that want to do good in school so their parents can approve of them. I see so many people that dress certain ways so people can think they're attractive. I see so many people that work out so girls can think they're strong. I see, you should do stuff for yourself. I see so many people right now doing things for other people. That's a big issue in society. And it pisses me off because I think everyone is unique and beautiful in their own way. I think everyone is, and that's corny, whatever. I think everyone gives something beautiful,
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, like, I'll give you an example. I used to be kind of a nerd. I am a nerd. I still do like it. I watched anime in middle school. It was like, and I talked about it. I would express myself. This kid was like, "Oh, dude, that's for weird kids. You're weird." 4 years later, he's like, "Yeah, I'm on like." I hear him talking with someone else. He's like, "I'm on episode 1,000 of One Piece." So in my mind, I'm like, maybe you liked it before and you were too scared to admit it. Why? So someone would think you're weird? Why do you care? That's my question to society.
People are busy trying to live their lives to impress other people. Nobody's life is truly their own anymore. They just feel the constant need to be accepted by other people, and they kill themselves to get to that point. And everything in life is losing meaning because of that. Nothing means anything anymore because everybody is so superficial in the way they are and who they mean to themselves and the people who truly mean the most to them. And I don't know, it is sad to think about, and it is frustrating, agreeing on your point that it makes you mad. So I don't know, it is a lot to think about. I like your points.
I mean, any other comments at all, or?
I don't know, if I just had to say one thing, I think life is something to take seriously and not too seriously at the same time. I get up in the morning and I study and I go to work, and if I have time, I'll work out and I'll check in on my family and friends, and I do that not only because I want to, but because I feel like I have to. If I didn't, my life would be in shambles. But if I accidentally, trip in front of a pretty girl, I don't care. If I accidentally mispronounce a word when I'm giving a presentation, I don't care. I don't care if I see someone from middle school and I'm wearing like sweatpants. I don't care. Life is something to take seriously and not seriously at the same time. And life is beautiful. You're only given one life, and you should live it. Because people don't live their lives. People go through their lives, they don't live their lives. I'm living right now. I'm first generation college student, My parents are blue collar. So many people told me, Marco, you're going to be burned out. Why should you do this? You should do this instead. Screw you. I'm living my life the way I want to live. If I want to wear polka dot sweatpants, I would. I don't want to, but I would. That's it.
Honestly, beautifully put. Thank you so much. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Jay Traub. I'm a senior here over at Oakland University. So, yeah, and the question is, what is love?
What is love, Josh?
Well, first of all, it's a song by Hadaway, but that's not what you're here for. Sorry. Love is, in my opinion, multiple things, because love can be personal. Personal love, just loving yourself, loving who you are and things like that. That's one form of love. But there's also, love and friendship. You can love one of your friends like you guys, but that's different from, say, familial love, where like loving your brothers, loving your parents, things like that. And then there's, of course, romantic love, where it's, being attracted to another person. So I think the baseline of love is just caring for someone or something deeply enough to where you want to spend a good amount of time with them. More than, say, liking someone or even tolerating someone. Love is wanting to be with people.
So it's that quality time.
Oh, yeah. Because time is one of the most expensive things we have in our life, because you can never get it back. So love is basically spending that time with someone. So, yeah.
Now, does that make you feel the most loved when someone wants to spend time with you, or is there a little bit more to it than just the time?
Yeah, I would say that I feel the most love when I'm spending time with people and interacting with them and everything, because if you ask a lot of older folks, like people in, say, Gen X or Millennial, they'll say, well, you have to be spending time with someone and doing things with them. Whereas, in my opinion, even if I'm like sitting with someone and we're both on our phones doing different things, I still say that's good quality time with someone. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that like you don't love each other or anything like that. It's just you're doing something together, I think is the big thing about it,
Yeah, and I mean, quality time is a big aspect. You need to be spending some type of time, no matter what what kind of time, you know?
Right.
It's just the point of it is to be with someone, to spend the time with them. Although I'm not going to say just sit next to me all the time. I would like to do things sometimes, quality time has to differ, but the main gist of it is there are days you are going to just want the presence of somebody, and there are days where you want to do something, make memories with that somebody, you know? So quality time is a big thing, I would think.
Now, you mentioned the different types of loves, and you obviously mentioned the thing that's like the basis for most love. I've asked this question a lot today. What is the difference between love in a friendship and love at a romantic level? Is it just more quality time, or is there something else to it?
Biggest difference between romantic and platonic love, in my opinion, is it's probably like how you spend that time. Whereas how you look at that person. Whereas with platonic love, you're hanging out with someone, you're hanging out with people, and it can be in a larger group. It could be just one-on-one, but you're just there with someone. Whereas with romantic love, you're wanting more of those memories and things like that. Like Mina mentioned, you're forming memories, and the memories always take on a different context when platonic versus romantic. With platonic love, it's just like, I don't know how to describe it, really. It's
hard.
It is.
I mean, it's why we put the question down.
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
Definitely is. In my opinion, it's how you personally feel about that person and love. It's like you look at that person and you're like, yes, that is my friend, or is that versus that is the person I love, and that triggers different. I feel like triggers different parts of your brain and how they react to that person. Whereas, if I'm, for example, say you're spending quality time with someone. Say you're at a bowling alley or something, and say you're with your friends and everything, and someone doesn't let go of the bowling ball and falls flat on their face. Platonically, you'll laugh in their face because that's what friends do. You have fun about it. You'll check on them and everything, but you'll laugh at them. Whereas romantically, you will check on them first, and then you'll laugh about it afterwards. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how you go about things, I think, is a good way to put it.
It's a different tone.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any other comments on the topic, or?
Well, I mentioned earlier personal love, because I feel like that's just as big as, say, romantic and platonic love, because I feel like one of the big things, to love others, you first need to love yourself. And you don't always need to fully love yourself. You can still be working on yourself and changing yourself as you go along. But I think you need to have that basis of loving your own self, loving how you look, how you act, things like that. And I feel like if you don't really love yourself in that regard, it's harder for you to form that connection to love others. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think a reason why a lot of relationships fail today is because of that? Because one or both partners, or even multiple partners, they just don't love themselves?
I think that's a big part of it, but I think there are other reasons for it. I think one of the bigger reasons for that is just that honeymoon period. You know what I mean? Just you're focusing on loving the other person, that you don't really see their flaws, but after a while you do start to see their flaws, and those flaws could be the person loving themselves in that way, loving their own flaws and being fine with those flaws, but the other person might not. So it can, but there are other factors to it. There's always other factors, you know.
Now, you mentioned the honeymoon phase. I know the honeymoon phase is the biggest part of a relationship, where people clearly feel the most love, because that's where you want to express it the most. Do you think that people exhaust all of their love in that first period, the first couple of months, and then sort of deteriorate from down there? Because I've seen that happen. So I want to know what you think.
I've seen it happen too, but I also I don't think that's always the case, because there's always going to be the honeymoon period in a relationship. That always happens, but some people do exhaust that love. You're right, and that can lead to relationship ending. But other people, they might still exhaust that love, but still want to be with that person because they know, because they like that time where they did exhaust that love, and still want to be with them. I think it does matter on like who the person is and everything and how they act. Like, there are some people who are constantly in and out of relationships. They always put everything into it, and then, you know, something happens, they fall out of it. I mean, look at Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So,
Correct.
but there are other people, like, they're in years-long relationships, and they still, they're in years-long relationships, and then something happens and it dies out, and that they might have already exhausted their love like only a few years into it, but they still were with each other. So I don't think it's always the case, you know?
Right. Yeah. I've seen like people who give every ounce of their love in the beginning, in every capacity, in every way, and then sort of once they fall out of that honeymoon phase, they would feel like, oh, you used to do this, but you don't anymore. And so it's always like the comparing, and it's always like the insecurity, which also, like how you mentioned, the self-love, the working on yourself, making sure you understand the other person and understand yourself to sort of make that work in the situation, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to say, oh, at the beginning, they did all of this for me, but now they don't do it anymore, and they don't love me, they don't care about me, they're not seeing me, they're falling out of love with me, and that is not the case at all.
No,
that's
of course
just
not.
the dynamic of how relationships are. When you first see someone, you are learning every part of them, you are giving them everything, and they're giving you everything, and I don't know.
And
I don't know how to-
as you exhaust that love, you start to see who they actually are underneath everything, and if they're not doing things they did at the start of a relationship, that just might be who they are, you know. And you just gotta love them for who they are, honestly. And
Gonna make a worldwide petition to get rid of the honeymoon phase because
I don't
it's
think that'll
inefficient and
It's just that's just how people are wired. They won't, in a relationship, they try and give everything to make it work at the start.
yeah.
And once they gave everything, it depends on, like, you just gotta, what am I looking for here? Sometimes my words get,
You'll find it.
yeah, they give everything, and then once they've given everything, they look back and see, well, how did they react to what I've given them?
Right.
And how will they react now to when I am not giving them as much, but still trying to? So,
Right.
I think that's one of the big things.
Yeah. No, I agree. I see that.
Anything else?
Not off the top of my head. I think I've exhausted pretty much all I wanted to say.
No, it was great. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you, man. Thank you. All right, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Kevin Alvarez. I'm a freshman at Oakland University.
All right. What is love?
What is love? Oh, that's a question? I feel like it's a really complicated question because it means a lot. Like, it could mean a lot different depending on what relationship it is, like family-wise, love-wise. But I feel like love is, you don't even think about it. It's like you're willing to do anything for it, and nothing's holding you back from doing it. I feel like that's what love is.
Got it. And when do you feel the most love?
When do I feel the most loved? I feel like when people treat me like a brother, like when people treat me like a family member, even when I'm not part of their family. That's when I feel the most love. Because it takes a lot more when you're not part of someone's family, but they treat you like you are part of their family.
Right. And that's more so with like the platonic, like your friends, your colleagues, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When do you feel loved, like relationship-wise too?
Relationship-wise, I feel love when. That's hard. Well, I just got out of a relationship, so this is probably a good question. I think in a relationship, it's willing to forgive a lot and maturing with the person and growing with the person and not just giving up on the person. I feel like that's what love is.
So it's kind of that loyalty.
Loyalty, yeah. I would say loyalty is like the best word for it.
Now, are there any other traits, like in a partner, like in regards to like loyalty, that you would heavily value in a relationship?
That I haven't valued?
That you would value?
Oh, that I would value? I would say making like, well, I know there's a lot of love languages. Mine is like receiving gifts. And I would say like if they take out time of their day to make you a gift without you even knowing, and then like you receiving it, I feel like that's showing a lot of love.
And I mean, friends can do that too as well, right? I mean,
Yeah. I think it means more when it's like a significant other, because you've met them for a period of time, but like friends, you've known them forever, you know? So it means a lot more coming from them.
Right. You feel like they truly listen to you and understand you. They know what you like. They know what you want. And
Yes.
the surprise, just adds to the effect of, oh my God, they know me. They understand me.
Yeah, especially when it's like when they give you a gift about something you told them about a long time ago and they remember it. It's
Yeah.
like those small gestures that
Right.
show a lot of love.
what's so funny is a bunch of people that have come on and talk. They mentioned like them thinking about you, even if it's just a friend. It's just they're in your mind, and they're like, oh, like I should get them this, or like I should send them this, or I'll just like send like a hey, like how are you? Is it that aspect, like they're just thinking about you, that like I don't know, makes you feel loved? Or
I would say yes, because knowing that I'm like always a part of them means that they have some place in their heart for me. So that means they're always like, yeah, they have like a special place for me.
Yeah.
So they're thinking about me.
Right, like it's always being considered and remembered. Like with a significant other, you're like, oh, I watched this video or this movie and this reminded me of you, and you send that to them.
Mhm.
Or if it's playing off like more platonic things, like with friendships or how you want to feel like a brother and stuff like that, whether it's sending like a picture of a rat to your friend and saying it looks like you, like
Yeah.
that's also like another,
Honestly,
like,
yeah.
that's another thing of like love and like, oh, they're thinking about me,
Yeah, that
even though
tough
if it's like a
love,
funny
yeah.
like
No,
type of
that's
thing.
like, the thing is, like, I feel like my love language is like making fun of people. I don't know why, but I feel like when I make fun of my friends, it's because I love them.
Yeah.
And I know that they should take it as a joke and not like
Right.
a hurtful thing, And I know I'm getting interviewed, but I got a question for you guys. What do you think love is?
Asking us, turning the tables.
I mean, do you want
Another episode of I Talk, You Listen. So, I mentioned this earlier, that love for me is, again, it's infinite, it's everlasting, but more so not in the context of how long it lasts, but more so how deep it goes in different ways that you can show it and accept it, and every aspect of it. Again, like personally for me, it's being considered, being remembered. It is noticing the little things. It's not necessarily, even if I don't see you for a month, and currently I am in a long distance relationship, I haven't seen my partner in quite some time. It's not necessarily you have to be next to me, I have to see you every day. That's not the dynamic that I'm looking for. For me personally, it's just being remembered, being considered in your day-to-day life. Don't have like dry conversations with me, forget about me, and then try to come back like it's normal. Like I'm gonna be upset, but it's also the communication part of it. You have to say, hey, this has been happening, this is going on. Being open and understanding and feeling comfortable enough to tell me what's going on with you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of communication, consideration, stuff like that.
I could kind of relate with that because the previous relationship, we broke up like 3 weeks ago, and it was also long distance. I met her here because she was a foreign exchange, and she had to go back. I was gonna visit her, but we broke up before that.
Right.
But I feel like in love, I feel like a lot of people are meant to just be part of your life, but not meant to stay. They're there to like show you what love is, or for you to learn how to love yourself. Like in my relationship, she learned how to love herself, and I learned what true love really is. And I feel like in those aspects, I feel like those grow you for your next partner to have a way better connection, and that's what really. And then once you guys stay together, that's what really love is.
Yeah. Love is never something that you're gonna be a professional at from like the first interaction that
No,
you
yeah.
have. It's something that needs to be learned and adapted and experienced. It's never gonna come like with a manual or anything. Each
Oh, yeah, yeah.
person's gonna have a different point of view on love and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's just a matter of adjusting, and we were talking about it with another guy earlier about acceptance. It's a matter of also accepting what that person defines as love and incorporating that into your relationship.
Yeah, that's true. What about you?
I think it boils down to ultimate support. I don't think like don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about yes men or yes women in your life.
Yeah.
The best way I can put it, and I thought about it, is like, for example, let's say you're walking on a pier and you see someone catch a fish and they're cooking it and they're eating it. And you ask them like, oh, why'd you do that? And they say like, oh, I love fish. They don't really love the fish, right? They love themselves. That's why they're cooking it and they're eating it. I think love is ultimately supporting someone for who they are, even like through their weirdness and their quirks, and wanting them to be the best person they can be. And ultimately, if that requires like calling them out, like, hey, what you said stupid, or like you shouldn't be doing that, like that's still love. I think the best relationships, the ones I've seen flourish and are still very like prevalent today, are the ones where they're both selfless for each other and they have the trust that neither one will be selfish. I think that's what true love boils down to.
Yeah. That's actually, I never really thought of it like that, but honestly, yeah, that's really...
See, that's the whole point of this thing. You get everybody's little point of view on love, and it sort of opens doors for you, opens your eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole thing has done for me today. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you have any other comments or?
Any other comments? Not about love, but like about you guys. What, do you guys do this every day?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday?
Viewers at home. So we record on Wednesdays and we post every Sunday about.
So a different question every Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
All right, you guys will see me back some Wednesday.
Yeah, next week it will be what is your craziest story?
All right, I'll have one.
Yeah.
He's gonna go this week and do a crazy story for next week.
I'm about to make a crazy story right now, and then come back.
We'll probably put this at the end of the podcast, but you want to sign off on the podcast?
Sign off?
Yeah, like, tell our viewers.
Dude, I don't even know what that means. Like, what do you mean? Say bye?
Yeah, just say bye. I don't know.
Oh yeah, peace out, guys.
All right, thank you. Before this episode comes to an end, I just want to appreciate some people as always. The first being Mina, who's today's co-host. Without her insightful commentary and her just lively personality, I really don't think this episode would have turned out as well as it did. Just like Ferris in the last episode, she really carried it, and I'm forever thankful for her, really. The second being everyone that gave their commentary on such a very abstract concept. I think everyone killed it, and it just really carried this episode overall. The last person I want to thank is you, the listener. Of course, without your time to listen to what we have to say, this idea wouldn't really be a thing, and I just can't thank you enough. As always, I hope you guys tune in for next time. Thank you.